Hey everyone, it's Mari, and I'm going to be doing a double page spread layout today of Project Life, and I'm documenting a trip that my son and some of his friends took to Banff in February of 2015. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the steps that I took to do this layout and the embellishments and so on. And I just want to say that I absolutely love doing Project Life pages, and it's actually a really fantastic way of documenting everyday life, and it's also a really great way to use up stuff in your stash, which is fantastic. So what I'm doing on the layout right now is I have the left page that I'm going to be working on, and this is for a 9 by 12 album. And what I'm doing is I'm going to work on each of those cards individually. And right now I'm working on the title card, which is a 4 by 6 card. And I'm just going to put a title on there that goes along with what's already on that card. And I'm just going to document a little bit about how this is the month of February and that this is a trip to Banff. And I'm just using some of those little alphas I'm just putting in place with my craft knife, and just putting that on there so that when we look back at this, we know that that's what was happening with this layout. So on a Thursday in February, and I can't remember the date, but I think right around the middle of February or so, my son Jordan and two of his friends decided that they were going to take the 10-hour drive out to Banff National Park in Alberta, which is a neighboring province to us here in Canada. And they decided that they were going to drive out and go and do some snowboarding and skiing for a few days. So when you're young and 23 and, living the dream, then that's the kind of thing that you do, right? And so they went and they just absolutely had a blast. So the picture on the first card, to the right of the title card, there is a photograph of them in the vehicle as they're just on their way. So I'm just embellishing that title card with some enamel dots and some puffy stickers and just a variety of different embellishments, just to add a little bit of detail to that card. And like I said before, that's one of the really neat things about Project Life is you can actually use up a lot of stuff that, on the 12 by 12 layouts, it might take you a while to get some of those things used up. What I really like to do with my Project Life layouts is I really like to map my photos. And I do that on almost every one of the cards. So on this 3 by 4 card that I'm journaling on right there, that photograph, which I printed on my Epson Photomate, I've just done a little bit. I think I cut a little bit off around the edges to fit it onto that card, and then I just mat it onto some blue cardstock. And the same thing with this photograph here. I have a Project Life die cut from Stampin' Up that cuts the Project Life cards either to 4 by 3 or to 4 by 6, and I often use that when I'm doing the layout. So I took a piece of that Amy Tangerine Rise and Shine paper, and I used the die cut to cut it into that 4 by 3 shape, and then that's just the little welcome sign to Banff there in that photograph, and I just trimmed that photo up so that it would fit onto that card. So usually what I'll do is I'll go on to my Photomate and I will use the layout option on it, and I'll oftentimes I will print the photographs in Wallet, but I also used my larger format printer, my larger format HP PhotoSmart printer for this layout too. What I like about that is you can take and you can put on an 8.5 by 11 sheet, you can just go in and you can put zillions of photographs on there that you know that you're going to use in your Project Life, and all the sizes that you want. And then you might have to trim them up a tiny little bit, but you can cover the whole sheet with photos. And I like to do that too, just as an option. So this is another picture of Jordan here, and this is one of him in his ski attire on the mountain. He doesn't do a lot of skiing. We used to ski lots with the kids when they were little. They were to Banff when they were little kids, and we actually have a ski hill pretty close to us, which you might not believe since I live in Saskatchewan, which is the prairies, but where we are in the prairies, it's pretty hilly, and we do have a pretty decent ski hill pretty close by. So this is my son and one of his friends at the Banff Springs Hotel in that photograph there at the bottom where it says happiness. Just tell you a little bit about the cards that I'm using here. Some of them are ones that I cut, as I mentioned before. I've got a little bit of Heidi Swap Dreamy Edition in here. There's some Scraptastic cards. There's some Studio Calico. And then, of course, like I said, there's some that I made. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of a bunch of different things. You can always tell the Scraptastic cards, though, because they have squared off corners and the Studio Calico's corners are rounded. And I don't care. I'm not fussy about, some of my corners are round and some are square. I could care less. When I'm looking at this album, I'm looking at the photos. I'm looking at the journaling. Yes, I want it to look nice and I want it to all go together, but I'm not going to fuss and stew over, how some corners are round and some are square. It's not on my radar at all when I'm scrapbooking Project Life. Another thing that I really like about Project Life is you can take a lot of pictures and you can scrap them in a short period of time. So in this double page spread layout, you can see how many photos, when it's all done, how many photos I end up getting scrapped. And it probably takes me about the same amount of time to scrap a double page spread of Project Life as opposed to one 12 by 12 scrapbook process layout. So there's pros and cons to doing both, and I'm really, really glad that I started doing Project Life because it's fun to have the option of doing either or, and I still really love 12 by 12. I wouldn't stop doing that, but it's just that I find merit in doing both of the different processes. So now I'm just taking a bunch of bits and pieces of word phrase stickers and trying to use them up. For example, those ones on the left on my table there, the Amy Tan Rise and Shine, the little orangey and blue ones. We had a lot of those in our hip kit, and that's perfect for Project Life. I probably won't use them so much in my 12 by 12 scrapbooking, but I'll use them right up with my my Project Life. Can't talk today. So now I'm just doing a little bit of journaling on there, and I'm just writing about how, these young professionals, right? They're all engineers. They're all working at different places, but they went to school together, and they all, they love what they do, and they get together, and they just really do have a really good life. And what I'm putting on there is living the dream, and they sure are. Yeah, it's good. Life is good. So I think the photograph on that one, I can't see it very well here as I'm narrating, but I believe it's a shot of the mountains. And, we're so lucky here in Canada. I think we have one of the most beautiful countries in the world. I know that we don't get all of the warm weather that, some countries get and that sort of thing, but the diversity in the landscape and that, it's the second largest landmass or country in the world. And one of the things that we teach the kids at school about the country, and that because of that diversity in our geography, is it's a reflection of the diversity of the people. And it's just kind of like a really cool fact about our nation. So one of the things that's documented here is just the idea of this whole other world. For us on the prairies, we can travel a short distance, and there we are. We're at the mountains, and it's beautiful. We have a couple of different mountain ranges in Canada, and just really, really very picturesque and beautiful. If you've never had a chance to go to Banff National Park, it's beautiful there. One of the things that I noticed when we went there at the different times we've been there is all the people from around the world that you meet there, because it is a real tourist attraction. I sound like I'm doing a tourism ad for Tourism Canada or something. Anyways, moving on back to the layout. So now I'm just going to continue to mat more of those photographs on that Stampin' Up! Cardstock. And this is another one, I think it's of the village of Banff from afar. And you can see the Rockies in the background. And I'm just going to do a little bit of a title on there about the Rockies. I think I put Hello Rockies on there, something like that. And I'm just going to come back to that because I'm thinking, there's a lot of space up there. I want to get something interesting on that card. So like I said about using up your stash, these are things that I've had in my storage, for a little while. Excuse me. And I'm gonna just continue to just keep a bunch of stuff on the side of my desk there while I'm working on these layouts, and just try to use as much of it up as I can. And those, I don't even know where these alphas came from. Maybe they're from Michael's, maybe they're recollections or something, but they're really pretty. They're black and they're sparkly, and there's a lot on that acetate sheet. So I use them in quite a few different spots on this layout. So I'm just continuing to use that craft knife to get those off of there and stick them down. So another one of the things that a neat thing that you can do with Project Life is that you can, every one of those cards, you can journal about something a little bit different, or some other little aspect of whatever it is that the story is that you're telling with the entire spread. And so, a lot of times there's things that you might forget about, documenting, or you don't get documented on a 12 by 12 layout. But because of the diverse number of different photos on your Project Life, you can get a lot of that done. So these photos here, this one is a picture of, I think Kayla took all of the pictures because she's only in one of them, and the boys are in all of the other pictures. But this one, Jordan and his other friend are just, it looks like, I thought, and I mean, he didn't tell me all about these photographs, but the one on the left is them in the chalet. So I just put après ski on there, which means after ski in French, which personally I enjoy the most about skiing. Anyway, one of the things that they did when they were in Banff that was really fun was they went to an Irish pub called St. James Gate, and my son absolutely loves Guinness. He took a trip to Scotland and Ireland and England last year, and I think he loved the British Isles. He absolutely loved it. He wants to go back. But I think that one of the things that he really loved the most were those little pubs. Anyway, this one's called St. James Gate, and he took a picture of the Guinness, and he also got a picture of the macaroni and cheese, which he said was unbelievable. So yep, those are the things that he remembered about his trip, or at least two of them. So I'm just going to journal a little bit underneath that picture, just to document about the macaroni and cheese and how much they enjoyed their time at that little Irish pub. And yeah, I'm using those little recollections alphas there, the black sparkly ones. And I'm just going to take a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to create the little journaling spot there for this layout, or for this card. So this is where I'm going to put in those little, I think maybe they're Alison Craft Webster's pages, perhaps. Those little letters, I'm just going to use them to spell out après ski on there, and then I just cut a piece of white cardstock and mat it to do some journaling on the bottom of this card. So it's just one of the things with Project Life is that you can do some little interesting bits and pieces, I think, that would get missed if you didn't absolutely scrap every single one of the same photos in your 12 by 12, right? Like I will double up and do some of the same photos or some of the same stories in 12 by 12 as I do in Project Life, but not necessarily. Like I definitely don't double up on every single story or every picture, for sure. So the nice thing about Project Life is you can get a lot of those stories in that you're going to miss with your 12 by 12, right? So I like that about that. I think it's a really it's a blend of two different ways of documenting that really complement each other and create sort of like a full album when you're done, right? One of the things I want to work on next is an 8.5 by 11 layout for my 9 by 12 album. I think I want to get a few of those in there, and I've seen a few people on YouTube doing the 8.5 by 11 layouts, and that's all they do. And I really like that. I like the ratio of the space. And sometimes I feel like the 12 by 12 is just really, really overwhelming. And it's nice that you can have that other option of doing the 8.5 by 11 for sure. So this picture here, I had to go and ask Jordan. He's actually home this weekend, and I had to go ask him what was going on in this photograph. But apparently they were playing cards, and I inadvertently wrote that they were playing bridge on there. And he said, "Mom, who plays bridge?" They were playing crib. Anyway, I had to fix that. That's what I was journaling about on there anyways. So they stayed at an international hostel when they were in Banff, and that's vintage Jordan. When they went to the British Isles, they only stayed at hostels. And there's a picture there of the hostel and on the outside, and then the bunks on the inside. And then these photographs, there's one there that's of Main Street, Banff, and it's really quiet. And then underneath there's kind of like a shot, a party scene shot, and I just comment on that. So, and then that 4x3 card in the bottom left-hand corner is just, it's a Project Life, well, it was from a cut-apart sheet in our hip kit, and I think it's Webster's Pages maybe. And I just needed a filler card for that spot, so I just cut that out and put it into that filler spot. So that's the nice thing, right? You can get a lot of those filler cards that just really add a little bit of interest and detail to your layout. You don't have to have a photograph or journaling in absolutely every pocket, and on lots of layouts it's pretty impossible to do that. So now I'm just going to show you, I did a bunch of embellishing off camera with some Craft Market puffy stickers, and I just, I put them down in a lot of different places, arrows, hearts, some of those diamond shapes, and just adding them here and there. I put a little bit of sewing on the title cards and just added some bits and pieces to make the cards look more complete and more interesting. And so there's the double page spread. It's all finished, and I like it. I like the way that it looks, and you can see that I've got a lot of photographs on there and some journaling that tell the story of this trip. And so when Jordan looks back at this album, he'll remember it. So just here's a quick flip through of January. There's the beginning of February there, the trip to Edmonton that we took, and my husband's 50th birthday party. And now I'm just going to slide these in. This is the last layout of February for me, and I'm going to be starting to finish up March. I started March already with my trip to Montreal and to the Bell Centre to the Habs game, and then the visit to my sister and her husband in Ottawa. So got those layouts done. And I'm also going to do another layout for March of my daughter and her classmates working on Wiki6, an assignment that they did for class. And I've got a whole bunch of pictures of that, and the supper that Jordan and I cooked them, and the kids eating supper. And they've got another roommate there that lives with them that was with them, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to be working on that. I don't know if I'll videotape it or not. I probably won't, but maybe on a flipped through sometime I'll show you that. So this is my Lee's kit from April, and it was inspired by and the designer, I guess, was Ali Edwards. And so it was a really nice kit. I love these kits. My May Studio Calico kit's the last Studio Calico kit I'm going to get for a while. I canceled my subscription just because I've got a lot of stuff to use up. And, I just feel like it gets overwhelming if you have too much of it. It's just sort of like you don't even know where to start. So I'm just flipping through and showing you the bits and pieces. So congratulations to Caddy Miranda, who won the 300 Subbies contest. And I left my email at the beginning of the video, and I'll leave it again at the end, so that congratulations, and she can contact me to collect her prize. And thank you so much, all of you who've been subscribing and leaving comments. I just am so thrilled and happy that you're able to do that and that you can watch. And I hope you're enjoying the videos. Have an amazing day. Bye, and thanks for joining me.